tell stories that we can all relate to. But what inspired those stories? Would you like to find out? Join me as we take a look at anime and go all the way back. To where it all started. This is mythology. This is anime origins.
Hey there, YouTubers, Afro X here, and I've got a real treat for you guys today. Today, I am going to break down 3 of the most popular anime characters in all of anime, because in my research, it turns out that pretty much everything in these shows can be directly shown to be influenced by one fictional character. And that's why this week we're kind of going in reverse, and we are not showcasing one character, but showcasing where they came from. This is Anime Origins, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Part 1, Sun Wukong's Adventures. The name Sun Wukong comes from a 16th century folktale called Journey to the West. And the Japanese pronunciation of Sun Wukong is Sun Goku, which is, of course, where you get Goku and pretty much any monkey character in anime. Other names are Monkey or the Monkey King. This is the same character you see on Netflix. They recently got The New Adventures of Monkey. That is, or Journey to the West is what that is based off of. The name's meaning, Sun Wukong, is monkey awakened to emptiness or aware of vacuity. Also, one of his names that he gets is Kitian Dashing, which means great sage equal of heaven. He's also known as Stone Monkey. Now, Sun Wukong's story begins long ago. He was born from an egg that was formed by a stone created by the collision of the 5 elements, or heaven and earth, that rested atop the mountain of flowers and fruit. Now, from this part of the story, we get the Ghetto Majo influence, the demonic statue of the outer path from Naruto. And also we get Son Goku and Roshi's attack Flower Fruit Mountain, which in the video games is known as Great Blazing Eruption. A lava-style Great Blazing Eruption. Now, moving on. Over time, actually, once he awakens, a bright light shines out of his eyes, and it wakes up the Jade Emperor, which comes on later in the story. After having the Jade Emperor, after having his servants research, like, what it was, they report back to him that it was a stone monkey, and he's not that impressed. So, over time, Sun Wukong goes on to befriend some of the other monkeys in the forest. And one day he makes a bet with them when they reach a waterfall called the Curtain Cave. And he says that anyone of them who can go into the waterfall, find out where it originates from, and come back out again will be named their king. Well, nobody wanted to go, and so he went in himself. And he discovered a paradise inside with a cottage and flowers and just everything that would be needed for a home. And he came back out and reminded them of their bet, and they lived there, and he named himself Handsome Monkey King. Alright. Now, in this story, the Jade Emperor is pretty much equivalent to God. The Water Curtain Cave is also known as the Shuilian Cave or the Suiren Cave, and Suiren is a character, or the name of characters both in Naruto and Pokemon. So going on, Sun Wukong establishes himself as a powerful and influential demon. And so being in need of a weapon, Sun Wukong searches for weapons and finds the Ruyi Jingu Bang, which is the influence for Goku's power pole. It weighs 8.1 tons and can pretty much turn into any size that Sun Wukong wants or needs while he is battling. And when he's not battling, he turns it into the size of a sewing needle and sets it behind his ear. Now, this power pole is the influence for Hiruzen's pole that can transform into Monkey King Enma in Naruto, and also might be the influence for the Sage of Six Paths staff. That might be speculation a bit there. Let me just look through my notes here. So, Sun Wukong goes on to defeat the Dragons of the Four Seas, which I figured might be the influence for the Yonko in One Piece. He demands and receives a golden chainmail shirt, a phoenix feather cap, and cloud walking boots, which I thought might be the influence for Sanji's moonwalk. He returns and allies with many of the animal kings and spirits, and the kings of spirit animals. And this kind of gave me a vision of like when the Sage of Six Paths was surrounded by the tailed beasts. He then goes on to defy Hell's attempt to take his soul, wipes his and his fellow monkeys' names out of the Book of Life and Death. And so the Dragon Kings... Where was I? Ah, yes. Sorry about that interruption there. The Dragon Kings, which I thought may have been an influence for Shenron, and the Kings of Hell, or Naraka, and Enma is like the demon king of them, and Yema, which is another name for Enma, and the influence for King Yema from Dragon Ball Z. The Dragon Kings and the Kings of Hell report him to the Jade Emperor. So, what the Jade Emperor does is he figures, well, you are out of control, so we're going to give you some jobs to keep you under control. We're going to give you jobs up here in heaven, and I'm going to make him feel important so he doesn't want to start anything else. So, he's given jobs that he thinks are going to be great, but they turn out to be crap jobs, like tending to the cloud horses as a horsekeeper. And then when he kind of rebels against that, they make him the protector of the peach garden. And he rebels against those and proclaims himself the Kitian Dasheng, or the Great Sage Equal to Heaven. And the Great Sage Equal to Heaven, that name, I think, is probably the influence for Sage Mode in Naruto. After being excluded from a royal banquet, he steals and consumes the Peaches of Immortality, which could be seen as the influence for Devil Fruits or Chakra Fruits. The Pills of Longevity, which is definitely a Senzu Bean influence, and the Jade Emperor's Royal Wine. He then goes to prepare for rebellion. And this is where I can see the influence for the Whitebeard War saga. During the rebellion, he goes on to defeat the Army of Heaven's 10,000 celestial warriors, all 28 constellations, 4 heavenly kings, a protection deity named Neza, and proves equal to Erlang Shen, the best of heaven's generals. Taking the combined efforts of Taoist and Buddhist forces, many of the greatest deities, and the Bodhisattva of Mercy, Guan Yin of the Thousand Hands, by the way, Guan Yin of the Thousand Hands being the influence for Hashirama's sage art wood style summoning 2,000 hands, it took all of their efforts to capture him. After several failed attempts at execution, he's imprisoned in Laozi's 8-way trigram crucible. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the influence for Neji's 8 trigram 64 palms attack. And he's to be distilled or melted into an elixir by the the Samadhi fires. So he is stuck in this crucible for 49 days. 49 days later, Sun Wukong jumps out, having survived by finding a corner that had no fire. He has developed the ability to recognize evil with the Woyan Jinjing, or the golden gaze fiery eyes, which may have been the influence for the QB eye in Naruto. But that there is speculation on that also. Moving forward, the Jade Emperor then seeks out the Buddha himself, and the Buddha makes a bet with Sun Wukong that he can't escape the Buddha's palm. Buddha's palm holds the world. Sun Wukong flies to the ends of the earth and marks all 5 pillars with his name, Kintian Dasheng, Great Sage Equal to Heaven, then flies back, only to realize that the 5 pillars are the Buddha's fingers, transforming his hand into a mountain, and seals him with a talisman reading Om Mani Padme Hum, which nowadays is a great mantra usually used by the Dalai Lama, which means don't open till Christmas. No, just kidding. It actually means independence on the practice of a path which is an indivisible union of method and wisdom. You can transform your impure body, speech, and mind into the pure exalted body, speech, and mind of a Buddha. Padme means lotus, which is a Star Wars influence. Yeah, bet you didn't know that Chinese mythology influenced Star Wars too. Oh, we're gonna get so much more weird going forward. Anyways, Sun Wukong was imprisoned 500 years. Part 2, Journey to the West. 500 years later. The monk named Tang Sang Zhang, or Triptaka, which is based on Sang Zhang, who was a actual historical Buddhist monk who lived in the Tang dynasty, therefore why they gave him the beginning of Tang. Tang Sang Zhang is tasked with journeying to the West, or India, to retrieve the Buddhist sutras. The Bodhisattva Guanyin, of the Thousand Hands, if you remember, searches for disciples to protect Tang Sang Zhang. Sun Wukong bargains servitude to the pilgrim in exchange for his freedom, but Guanyin creates a golden ring, which I believe was the influence for Goku's halo, to go around his head to control him. Whenever Tang Sang Zhang said a certain sutra, it would retract and give Sun Wukong a headache. I couldn't really find a reference for the halo hurting Goku. The only thing I could really assume was maybe that it was referenced to his time limit while he was in Super Saiyan 3 form. Guanyin grants Sun Wukong 3 hairs to use in dire emergencies, and in the mythology and stories, Sun Wukong's hairs can turn into, like, clones of himself, or they can turn into weapons that he may need. So, Sun Wukong faithfully serves Tang Sang Zhang. They are joined by Zhu Bajie, or the 8 Precept Swine, and Sha Wu Jing, or Sandy. And those two join along to atone for their sins. Also, Yulong, which was, Yulong, yes, he's the 3rd son of the Dragon King. He was about to be executed for burning down one of his father's pottery sheds, I believe it was. And he becomes Tang's mount by transforming into a white horse. Now, most of the 81 tribulations that Tang Sang Zhang has to go through involve a demon wanting to eat Tang Sang Zhang's flesh to gain immortality. Sound familiar, like Frieza wanting to get the Dragon Balls to gain immortality. And they want to eat his flesh, and the 3 disciples saving him. Which demons include, but are not limited to, the Ox King, which is the direct influence for the Ox King in Dragon Ball Z, and Dark Wukong, which is pretty much a direct influence to Goku Black, Ors, and Dark Naruto from their respective shows. Now, after the 81 tribulations are completed, they return home, and Sun Wukong becomes Dao Zhensheng Fo, or the Victorious Fighting Buddha, for learning virtues and the teachings of Buddhism. Tang Sang Zhang also achieves Buddhahood. Sha Wu Jing attains the title of someone who has reached nirvana, which is, they call him an Arhat. Yulong is transformed into a Naga, or King Cobra. A female Naga is a Nagini, and Nagini is Voldemort's pet snake in the Harry Potter series. So yes, Chinese mythology even slightly influenced the Harry Potter series. Zhu Bajie, or the pig, gets to do what pigs love and eat all offering leftovers as an altar cleanser. He didn't get that good of a title because his good deeds are always tempered by greed. Zhu Bajie, his character is very much like Oolong, where he is just after money and women. His whole thing is greed and women. So, now it's time to draw some parallels. Looking at all our influences, looking at all of the influences, I'm going to do a quick rundown of what characters influenced what things. So, Sun Wukong, obvious influence for Goku, Monkey D. Luffy, and Naruto. Also, a few ones that I thought were kind of influences. Whitebeard, Kaguya, Menma, Madara, Jiraiya, the Sage of the Six Paths, and Chewbacca. Also, Roshi and Son Goku from Naruto. And I mean, maybe more. Throw a stone at all of anime, and you will find someone that was influenced in some way by Sun Wukong. The Jade Emperor, an influence for Kami, Hiruzen to a lesser extent, the Sage of Six Paths, and the Marines in One Piece, but specifically the Gorosei and Celestial Dragons from One Piece. The Buddha I could see as an influence for Zeno, Kaguya, or the Emperors of the Sea. Guan Yin, I'd say is a direct influence to King Kai, or Master Roshi. Hashirama, and Robin, and maybe even the Thousand Sunny. I know it's a ship, but I mean, ships kind of have their own character in One Piece. The Heaven's armies could be seen as an influence for Frieza and his army. Though Frieza was technically influenced by like the demons they had to fight in Journey to the West. Danzo and the Anbu were probably influenced by the Heaven's armies. And also the Admirals, Marines, and Shichibukai, the Seven Warlords of the Sea in One Piece. Now, Tansing Zhang, you will be, here's a shock to all of you. Goku was not the main character of Dragon Ball. And you know who it turns out was? Bulma. Because Tansing Zhang is the direct influence to Bulma, and later on the influence for Krillin. It could be seen that he's the influence for Sakura and Hinata in Naruto, and honestly for most of the Straw Hat Pirates, specifically Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Sanji, Usopp, and Chopper. Also in Star Wars, he's influence for Luke and Leia. Now, I know you've heard some of the names repeated in this. Some of the names will be repeated because, I mean, a lot of the characters' different attributes can go into one character. Looking forward here, Zhuba-Jay, obvious influence for Oolong. I could also see as an influence for Nami/Luffy, and an influence for Sasuke, and also Han Solo, kind of characters all driven by either greed or gluttony. Xiahou Jing was an influence for Yamcha, Sanji, Kakashi, and probably also Han Solo. He was kind of the character with a mysterious past. He was the least explained what his past was about in Journey to the West. Yulong was influence for Shenron, being the son of the Dragon King, the Going Merry or the Thousand Sunny, and Kurama, the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox, the Millennium Falcon, and at the end, Nagini from Harry Potter series. The final reward ceremony I kind of saw as a parallel to the award ceremony in Star Wars. Yes, Chewie, I'm sorry you never got a medal. So, that's all the parallels that I can see. That's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to subscribe. We are in our 100 subscriber push right now. Keep YouTubing, YouTubers. Don't fight the Fro. And always remember,
Let the Wookiee win.
Stay legendary. X out.